Hello and namaste everyone. Welcome to the second video of Network Nexus. एंड आज के वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं सिर्फ और सिर्फ नेटवर्किंग के बारे में कि नेटवर्किंग की क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है। इस पे हमने फर्स्ट वीडियो में जो कि विधि मैंने ली थी उसमें भी हमने थोड़ी सी बात की थी। आज थोड़ा सा और डेप्थ में बात करेंगे। एंड उसके बाद हाउ कैन यू यूज़ नेटवर्किंग फॉर करियर डेवलपमेंट। आप अपने करियर के किस स्टेज पे किस तरह से किसके साथ नेटवर्क करें एंड किस इवेंट में जाके आपको किससे नेटवर्क करना चाहिए एंड what are the do's and don'ts of networking when you're reaching out to people. All of that we will discuss today. And today's buddy is a very dear friend of mine and her name is Radhika. She comes with a very strong professional background. She has worked with the very well-known companies in the country, Kalari Capital and Goldman. And right now she is doing an MBA with me. So she will walk you through the content and let's hear what she has to say.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, artist, professional businessman, or literally have any other identity that relates to you, who you are, what you do, is your personal brand. What people recognize you by, what is your story, and how you're able to narrate that story will in the end determine how you build that personal brand. Now you must be wondering, what is the importance of having this personal brand? A personal brand becomes really important for you to differentiate yourself in a crowd. Today, if you are somebody who people recognize by as something, you automatically become somebody who becomes top of mind for them in that space. I'll give you a very simple example from my personal story. So I love writing, and what I started doing was obviously using multiple channels to write on. I started writing for newspaper articles. Then I also used to write on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and people started recognizing me as somebody who writes. But then when I started getting that recognition, what I did was I started specializing in poetry, and then people started recognizing me as a poet. Now again, your next question is probably, what are the channels that you can build this personal brand on, and why is it important to have this recognition? So I believe that a personal brand can be built online as well as offline. Online we have multiple channels, like we have social media channels like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and offline we also have, we could either reach out to our peers in the classroom itself, or we have multiple social events that we go to along with our family for weddings, maybe for parties, where we can also build this network. What is the importance of having this network? A network doesn't just help us grow personally from the perspective of learning from each other, but also helps us grow professionally, as when people start recognizing us for things that we do and qualities that we have, they start giving us access to opportunities. And when we get access to those opportunities, we automatically grow. So again, I'll perhaps, go back to my story. So what I was able to do is not just build a personal brand, but then build some recognition around that personal brand, and then eventually combine the two. So when I took my brand, and when people started recognizing me for being a poet, they started giving me opportunities to perform at events and gigs. And when I did that, when I started performing, then they started giving me opportunities to host events and gigs. So I knew that I was doing well, and I was getting that feedback and validation. And this is something that even you can do in your space. When you are out networking with people, ensure that you have a certain skills that you're mindful about. One is definitely effective communication. The other is having a lot of clarity about what you want to communicate and what value you are adding to people and what value can you take away from them. The third is to build and maintain relationships with them by driving very good conversations. Clubbing and combining all of these skill sets together will help you build not just a personal brand, but also a very good network where people vouch for you, and where you can also take advantage of those people in your network and leverage them to then further any agenda. Now it often happens that when we're out amongst people, we get nervous and we don't really know how to start that conversation. So let me give you a quick shortcut to prepare yourself for any such conversations. In professional settings, there are two types of settings that we would usually be in: formal and informal settings. Let's talk about formal settings for a bit. Our formal settings could be work events, it could be in office as well as outside office. It could also be events amongst our peers who are professionals. it could be any sort of networking events that has been organized by an external body. And in such events where you have people with high stakeholders, you have a lot of people who are high stakeholders in your space or in your industry, what you would want to do is you would want to talk about yourself in a certain way. So prepare something called an elevator pitch. Now the elevator pitch has to be really short and crisp. It should be something that tells them about you. It should talk about your skill sets, what differentiates you from perhaps people with similar skill sets in your space, and it could also revolve around problem statements and solutions to those problems. And when you have this ready, you can actually use this in most of your conversations as an opening line, or an or as a conversation starter. This would give you the confidence to sell yourself or speak about yourself in a certain way. Now let's come to informal settings and informal events a little bit. Your informal events could be your immediate circle of friends. It could be perhaps weddings that you attend. It could be birthday parties that you go for. It could literally be any place that there are people around you, where you don't have the pressure of a professional network or a professional setting in place. So what you can do even in an informal setting is have an informal elevator pitch. What this essentially means is you can keep your conversations more casual, more candid. You don't have to be as crisp and precise as you would otherwise be, but still ensure that you are telling your story and conveying what you want to convey through that conversation. Something that is a very great opportunity, especially for college students, is college fests, because this gives us an opportunity to network with our peers. But also often at these college fests we have judges coming from outside, and in that setting it's really easy to talk about what you're good at, and scope an opportunity in their companies to perhaps intern for them or work for them. So that is definitely a window of opportunity that you should always keep open for yourself. So previously we discussed a little bit about how I was able to take my personal brand, combine that with my network, and then get something out of that personal brand and network in an informal setting. Let's come to a formal setting and try to understand how we can do the same thing here, right? So let me again give you an example from my personal experience. I'm currently a student. I'm doing my masters, and on campus we often have founders who come to take sessions for us. So what I did was went back, read up on the founder, prepared myself to have a conversation with the founder by knowing enough about her business. And then when she took a session, I was able to raise my hand, talk a little bit about myself, use my brand that way, and then also ask good questions about the brand that she was representing. And post the session, we then had conversations after that. I was able to ask her if I could work on a live project with her, and she said yes, and now we're currently working on a project together. The way this would again translate into my career story ahead is this live project could potentially even convert into a job. And I feel like these type of opportunities and instances are something that even you will come across in your life and in your career throughout your journey. And just having that ability to utilize your skill sets, utilize your knowledge about the brand, about the person you are speaking to in a formal setting, and then speak a little bit about how you can add value to them, would really help you carry your brand and your career in a long way going forward. So key takeaways from this session. 1. Know yourself really well, and then have the ability to tell that story through building a personal brand. 2. Know the people around you, build and maintain those relationships and create a network of people. 3. Have the ability to then use that personal brand, combine that with your network, and create some impact out of it, and take advantage and leverage that what you've created. So before we actually end the session, we have designed an interesting assignment for you, which will help you get better at personal branding as well as networking. So do look out for that, and see you at the next session.
आई होप वट एवर राधिका टोल्ड यू आप लोगों को अच्छे से समझ आया, एंड यू आर इंस्पायर्ड टू टेक अप द असाइनमेंट्स जो कि मैं अब आपको बताने वाली हूँ. तो द असाइनमेंट्स आर अराउंड नेटवर्किंग ओनली, एंड दे आर वेरी ईजी. तो द फर्स्ट असाइनमेंट इज़ टू फिगर आउट कि आपके आसपास, आपके शहर में, कि कहाँ पे कोई नेटवर्किंग इवेंट है, एंड यू हैव टू साइन अप फॉर दोज इवेंट्स, यू हैव टू गो टू दोज इवेंट्स, एंड किसी एक इंडस्ट्री प्रोफेशनल के साथ आपको एक कॉल स्केड्यूल करना है, एक इंफॉर्मेशनल इंटरव्यू या फिर एक कॉफ़ी चैट के लिए उन्हें इनवाइट कीजिए. एंड दिस यू कैन डू थ्रू लिंक्डइन, और इफ़ यू नो देयर ईमेल आईडीज़ तो आप ईमेल भी भेज सकते हैं उनको. तो these are the 2 assignments that you are supposed to do after Radhika has given you the wealth of knowledge that she has. And I really hope that you people have done the assignment for the first video, and I hope that you do it for this video as well. If you want to reach out to any of your buddies, including myself, Radhika, or the others who are associated with this channel, हमने अपना email ID डिस्क्रिप्शन में दे दिया है. आप जाके हमें पोस्ट कर सकते हैं. यू कैन सेंड अस एन ईमेल ऑन दैट ID. The only thing you have to take care of is that you have to put the subject network nexus assignment number. So आज जैसे assignment 3 and 4 है, so you have to write in the subject line network nexus assignment 3 and 4. And अगर आप लोग भूल जाते हैं then we are very sorry. We will not be able to give our feedback to those assignments. तो प्लीज़ मेक श्योर वेन एवर यू आर सेंडिंग एन ईमेल आप सब्जेक्ट ठीक से लिखें. एंड दैट इज़ ऑल. आई विश यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट फॉर कंप्लीटिंग दीज असाइनमेंट्स एंड सी यू नेक्स्ट वीक.